Welcome to more World of Warplanes content from the Noble Queue, and in this special edition of Notes from the Control Tower, I'm going to go through the chain of combat missions for the Antonov M Masha. As I bring this video to you, the event for the Antonov M Masha has already started, and many of you will be grinding away busily in the hope that within a month's time you will receive this Tier 9 reward Soviet fighter. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to go through the missions and try and give you some pointers about how difficult I think they're going to be, perhaps make some suggestions as to aircraft you can use or how you can get past them. And right at the end I'll also discuss the certificates that are in the shop that will allow you to skip some of the mission legs if you wish. So without further ado, let's get into a discussion of these missions. Just before I do that though, I'm going to try and provide links to each of the missions as chapters below the video. However, as there are 35 missions and some other sections to this video, I may not be able to do that. If I can't, then what I will do, I will break them into groups of 5, so there'll be 7 links for each group. And as you'll see, that will actually correspond to a concept in the game. I'll explain that later when we come to that section. I'll note here that you've got until October 29th, approximately midday or early afternoon, depending on whether you live in the UK or Europe, to complete these missions. If you're the sort of person who just likes to log in and play a few games of World of Warplanes, you're going to struggle to do this set of missions, in my opinion. It's going to require considerable commitment, and you'll see why in a moment or two. Now, before we go and look at mission number 1, I just want to explain that there are 35 missions in total. They're split into 7 sections, if you like, within the game itself. Each section is named after a part of the aircraft, fuselage, armament, fuel system, that kind of thing. That doesn't mean anything in itself, but one thing that is common to all of them is that each section starts with an easy mission and progresses through harder and harder missions until the hardest at the end. And those, you won't be surprised, are the ones that will take the most certificates to clear if you're stuck on them. Bear that in mind. So, mission number 1. Earn 2,000 capture points in any number of battles. Well, if you do anything at all in a battle, you'll be earning capture points, so fly your favourite aircraft, and it will, if you average, say, 250 capture points a game, take you about 8 battles. Mission number 2, and that's deal 50,000 hit points worth of damage to aerial targets, and aerial targets includes air defence aircraft, in any number of battles. The quickest way to do this is fly at the highest tier you're comfortable flying at, and fly an aircraft that does a lot of damage, i.e. has heavy guns. And bear in mind you're going to be stymied by other people who've got exactly the same objective. But if you fly at high tier and you're able to do, say, an average of 5,000 damage per battle, that's probably a little bit low for tier 10, say? Or maybe not. You'll do this in 10 battles. However, if you fly at a low tier and you're doing 1,000 or 2,000 hit points worth of damage per battle, then clearly it's going to take you a lot longer. So try and fly at the highest tier you can manage with a heavy hitting aircraft, and don't get frustrated by people stealing your kills, because I'm afraid they're doing the same thing as you. Somewhere between 10 and 20 battles is what I would estimate for this one. Mission number 3 is participating in capturing 25 sectors in any number of battles. Well, this suggests to me that you could fly a ground attacker or a bomber, and if you're reasonably good in those, you can do something like between 3 and 5 sectors, maybe more if you have a good game, per battle. So I'm going to estimate this is going to take you something like 5 to 8 games if you're halfway decent in those sorts of aircraft. You might be able to do it in other sorts of aircraft as well, but I feel that ground attackers and bombers are the way to go here. Mission number 4 is where it's starting to get a bit harder, and here you have to destroy 40 armoured sections of ground targets in a single battle. Well, the first thing to say is you're going to have to know which are armoured and which are unarmoured sections of targets. And generally the special objects are mostly armoured. Things like bunkers are definitely armoured. I'm not sure about the guns. They've got what they stand on seems to be armoured, so you might get away with shooting some of the guns, but you're not going to get away with shooting sheds and houses. Those, or tents, those will count as unarmoured targets. Now, I happen to have a mod that clearly indicates to me which are armoured targets, so it's easy for me, but if you don't have that mod, make sure you understand what is an armoured section. And you may get lucky. Again, I'm presuming you're going to use a ground attack or a bomber to do this. You could do this in the very first game. Or you may be frustrated by your teams, other bombers, ground attackers taking your targets for you, and you may get stuck on this for several games. Really can't tell you how long this was going to take. Potentially one game if you're lucky, potentially quite a few if you're unlucky. Mission 5, and here's the first of the epic achievements. Receive the Akamatsu medal. Well, what's one of those? And if we look down on this under resource here, the Akamatsu medal, it says here, awarded for earning at least 400 capture points for destroying aerial targets with a light fighter. So you're going to have to fly a light fighter in a single sortie. So you're going to have a pretty good sortie as well. So you'll be flying a fighter. If you're reasonably good and you pick the right fighter, again, this is one that you may very well do the first go. Or if you're unlucky, especially if you've got lots of other people trying to do the same thing around you at the same time, you may very, very well struggle to get 400 capture points in a single sortie. It's just going to be one of those things, and again, it's hard to predict how long it's going to take you to get this. I'm an above average player. I wouldn't put myself as any higher than that, and in a fighter that I really like, I reckon this could easily take me 4 or 5 games, and if I'm unlucky, it could take quite a bit longer. On the other hand, I could get it the very first game. It's one of those. I do have a tip for you, and that is look out for maps with a central repair base, because there you can probably defend to your heart's content, get repairs, shoot down enemy aircraft that are coming in, and earn an Akamatsu that way. Mission 6 sees a return to easier work, although it's grinding work and will take a bit of time. Earn 50,000 personal points in any number of battles. Well, I tend to average about 10,000 personal points in any number of battles. Fly your favourite aircraft, and if you do the same as me, you can probably do this in about 5 battles. If you average about 5,000 personal points, then it will take you 10 battles. But it's just a grind. There's nothing particularly difficult about this. And as I say, you can do it in any aircraft. Pick your favourite, and the job is a good one. So let's take a look at mission number 7. I'll just bring it to the top of the screen. Destroy 30 enemy multi-role fighters in any number of battles. Well, one assumes that you know how to identify a multi-role fighter. There'll be 2 or 3 of them normally in a game, and you've got to be in the right place to shoot them down. This one's pot luck. You might get lucky and perhaps average 3 of these a game, and it'll take you about 10 games, but don't be surprised if it takes you longer, especially if your teammates are concentrating on trying to snatch those vital multi-role kills from you as well. Just be persistent. It will get done. You just got to give it enough time. Mission number 8 is participating in capturing 30 sectors in any number of battles. It seems to me that we're back to ground attackers for your favourite bomber. And again, 3 to 5 sectors per game if you're lucky. So something like 10 games if you're averaging 3 per game. And if you're averaging 5, say 5 games. If you have a spectacular game, you might get it down a little bit, but it will be something like that. Fly your favourite ground attacker or bomber, I would suggest. And looking at mission number 9, destroy 8 enemy aircraft while defending sectors in a single battle. This is going to be a real nuisance if everybody else around you is trying to do exactly the same at the same time. For what it's worth, I think this implies that you should be flying a fighter, and you're looking for maps with, again, a central airbase with the repair wrench icon, and you can shoot down as many aircraft as you can whilst getting repairs. However, you're not limited to a single sector. It is sectors. If you destroy, say, 4 aircraft in a sector and then decide that the action's somewhere else in a sector that your team holds, and go over there and destroy another 4, that will amount to the 8 that you need. This one's going to be a bit painful, bit pot luck, hard to say how long it will take you. I'm just going to hope that you get some good maps and you're able to sit and get repairs. And so we come to mission 10, and it's another epic achievement. Let's just scroll this upwards again. Receive the Maguire medal. And if we want to have a quick look at what the Maguire medal is, here it is, Maguire medal, awarded for earning at least 400 capture points in a single sortie with a heavy fighter. So similar to the Akamatsu that we had previously, but of course this time you have to be in a heavy fighter. And again, if you're reasonably good, and if you fly perhaps low tier, you should be able to do this fairly quickly, provided you're not prevented from doing so by other players flying in heavies around you. Expect to see lots of XP54s trying to get Maguire medals. Personally, I'd probably fly something like a BF110B at tier 4. Mission 11. destroy 75 sections of ground targets in any number of battles. Well, this implies either ground attackers or bombers. I would favour ground attackers for this, for the simple reason that you can concentrate on destroying unarmoured sections of ground targets, things that it will take you very little time to shoot down. So your sheds, your tents, your watchtowers, things like that. If you shoot at armoured sections of targets, obviously it will take you longer. But don't forget to use your ordnance, your rockets and your bombs. And again, probably this I would do it with a low tier ground attacker, and I would seek out airfields and perhaps even garrisons, and that's going to annoy people around you. They'll probably accuse you of playing badly because they'll want you to go and attack your mining plants and your command centres and your military bases, but really you'll get this done most quickly if you play badly, and that's a bit of a shame. Some of these missions occasionally cause you to play in a suboptimal fashion in order to achieve them, to the annoyance of your teammates. So, mission 12, very simple. Destroy 100 aerial targets in any number of battles. Pick your favourite fighter or heavy fighter and shoot down air defence aircraft and enemy aircraft with gay abandon. And how long that will take you will depend on the teams around you and how good you are at knocking aircraft down. Try and pick something that's pretty heavy hitting, something like a BF-109. B or E would be ideal, for instance, at low to mid tiers. And if you average 10, this will take you about 10 games, and if you average 5, it will take you about 20 games. Mission number 13, earn 7,500 capture points in any number of battles. Tricky one. Straight off, I'd suggest you fly an aircraft that you regularly do well in. Capture points, keep an eye on their class-specific missions for that aircraft. The more of those you complete, the more capture points you'll get, and make sure that you're as active as possible throughout a battle. If you get something like a Winged Legend, you'll maybe get something like 500 to 600, maybe a bit more capture points. I would say probably you should figure on averaging about 250 capture points a game. That's possibly a bit low for you, but if you do, then you can see that that's going to take you, let's just do the maths. Maths are done, so about 30 battles if it's 250 capture points per game on average, and if you average 500, obviously it'll be about 15 battles. Mission 14, and this one has the potential to really frustrate you. Destroy 9 enemy fighters in a single battle. Well, you're probably going to have to be in a fighter to do this, and you're going to need quite a bit of luck. You want something that's relatively heavy hitting, relatively fast, so you can chase fighters down. You're going to have to steal them from your teammates because straw is eggs. They will try and steal them from you. Again, I tend to suggest that you want to be on a map with a central repair base so you can get repairs. And I just wish you good luck. I've got no idea how long this one's going to take you. You could have one of those remarkable battles straight away and do it in one go. You could find yourself doing a dozen battles and still not doing it. Good luck, everybody, with that one. Let's take a look at mission number 15, and I've just scrolled it to the top. Receive the Flying Guarding achievement. And what are we going to find here? Well, here's a resource that tells you what you need to do here to achieve your personal missions, aircraft-specific missions as it's called here. I call them class-specific missions. And if we just maximise them, we can see that the Flying Guardian badge is listed here. In a fighter, you need to destroy 8 aircraft when defending a sector. And if we just scroll down, you can also do it in multi-role fighters. Same condition applies. You need to destroy 8 when defending a sector, or sectors. It could be more than one. If we just quickly scroll through the other types of aircraft, you can see that the Flying Guardian achievement is not available there. So, fighters or multi-role fighters, probably a fighter since they're more manoeuvrable, but if you're really good in a particular multi-role fighter, there's no reason why you shouldn't achieve that. Defending 8, again, once again, you'll be looking for maps with a central repair base for maximum effectiveness. And again, it's one of those that you could get very quickly, or it may frustrate you and take several games, especially if you've got lots of players around you all shooting down the aircraft that you want to shoot down. So good luck with that one as well. So, mission 16, deal 400,000 hit points worth of damage to ground targets in any number of battles. Well, what a big long slog of a graph this is. Clearly ground attackers or bombers, and clearly the higher tier, the better. High tiers, you can probably knock this off in about 5 or 6 games. Low tiers, well, I'm not quite sure it's going to be quite that quick. 10, 20 battles, depending on how good you are, and depending on how much damage is being done by other people in ground attackers and bombers around you. Just a grind. You will get it done with luck quicker rather than less quickly. And mission number 17 is receive the Winged Legend achievement, and that's 14,000 personal points in a game. I don't even need to go and look at the resource for that. So fly an aircraft that you're most effective in, and you're most likely to receive the Winged Legend achievement. And again, that's one of those which, if you're lucky, you may get it the very first battle. And if everybody is stealing your kills and getting in your way, worse, ramming you, and generally doing the things that your teammates shouldn't do, it may take you much longer than that. My only advice is pick your favourite aircraft, the one that you're most effective in, and you're most likely to get this done quickly. Mission number 18, and we're back to grinding, and 100,000 personal points in any number of battles. Again, pick your favourite aircraft, the one that you're most effective in, and you'll get this done more quickly than in an aircraft that you don't fly so well. If you average 10,000 personal points a game, which I do, then this will take you about 10 games. If you are better than that, and many are, of course, it will take you fewer games. And if you earn 5,000 points a game on average, it will take you 20 battles. Fly your favourite aircraft, have fun. Mission number 19. This is going to be unpleasant for a lot of you. Destroy 5 aerial targets with a gunner in a single battle. In other words, a rear gunner. In other words, something with a good rear gunner, or lots of them. So, potential candidates for this, the SE-100, if you have it, the premium French heavy fighter, has a superb rear gun and pretty good forward guns. You can often soften up a gun, fly past them, and finish them off with the rear gun. So that's one possibility. The Blenheims and Beaufighters, the British heavies, with their fully rotatable turrets, you can soften up targets with front guns and then hope you can get in a position for your turret to finish them off. And that takes a bit of skill. I don't do it particularly well myself. Alternatively, there's the porcupine theory, and that implies something like a B-32 or a B-29 Super Fortress, if you happen to have one of those, where if you manage to angle your aircraft correctly and bring to bear enough of your guns, you'll knock down unwary fighters. The problem with that approach is that people have learned that these aircraft have very high hit point pools, and that they're on a hiding to nothing, generally, if they come at a B-29 or a B-32, so they don't do it. Good luck with this one. It's impossible for me to predict how long it's going to take you. If you're very good with the rear gunner, you've maxed it out with good skills, good range, accuracy, speed, reflexes, basically your best gunner that you have, then you'll get it done quicker than someone who's flying an untrained gunner in an aircraft with a weak rear gun. I'm looking at you, AD10C2. Best of luck. And from that tricky mission, straight into another epic achievement, which I'll just scroll to the top. Mission number 20. Receive the Preamble medal. The Preamble medal is here. It's awarded for destroying at least 10 aerial targets, which includes air defence aircraft, in a single sortie and winning the battle. Well, let's hope your team complies. The destroyed targets must include aircraft of all 5 types, so fighter, multi-role, heavy, ground attacker, and bomber. So this implies something with good altitude performance and pretty heavy guns. Can be done in a fighter, more likely a heavy fighter in my opinion. And again, it's going to depend on the teams around you, the circumstances, luck as well. And it might be one that you achieve in the very first game. It's much more likely to take you 10 games. And if you're really unlucky, it might take you more games than that. Again, I'm going to wish you good luck with this one. Mission number 21, receive the Rocketeer achievement. So basically you've got to destroy an aircraft with your rockets. This is going to be painful if you don't have any of the aircraft that have air-to-air rockets. You may not be aware that some of the aircraft have air-to-air rockets because they're all high tier. They are specifically the Tier 8, the Tier 9 and the Tier 10 BVPs, the Batwings as they're called. 210, 212, 215. The Tier 9 F-94D Starfire and the Tiers 8 and 9 ME-262s. These have air-to-air rockets. And they're good for this mission because if you get anybody foolish enough to come at you head on, you've got a very good chance of killing them with air-to-air rockets. And there are, of course, other people who are very good at aiming them and using them even in a deflection shot. What are you going to do if you don't have those aircraft? Well, you're going to probably have to fly something with rockets, of course. That's probably going to be a multi-role. And here's a tip for you. You don't actually have to hit the aircraft to get a Rocketeer achievement. If you can spot a low-flying ground attacker and aim rockets ahead of it that will hit the ground and catch the ground attacker in its the blast radius of those rockets, that will count as a Rocketeer achievement. And I reckon that's your best chance, unless you happen to be very good at aiming your rockets, which are intended for ground attacking. Since they're slung under the wings in most cases, you generally have to aim a little bit above an aircraft if you're going to try and directly hit it with the rockets. And bearing in mind the aircraft is likely to move the moment you fire, especially if it's a bot. Good luck with this one. Mission number 22, and it looks as if the World of Warplanes team are going to take pity on anybody who's just had to go through missions 19 through to 21, all of them pretty difficult. Just 5,000 capture points in any number of battles. Again, just a simple grind. Favourite aircraft will be good for this. If you can do 500 capture points on average per battle, which is pretty good, then 10 battles. If it's 250 capture points per battle, then 20 battles. And mission number 23, participate in capturing 30 sectors at any number of battles. Again, I'd go back to a ground attacker, your favourite one, or a bomber, your favourite one. And if you average between, say, 3 and 5 sectors per battle, then it's going to take you something like 10 games. 3 sectors per battle, maybe 5 or 6 games if you achieve a higher average than that. And continuing the theme of ground attacking, mission number 24, earn 5,000 personal points for destroying ground targets in a single battle. Well, probably you're going to be flying your favourite ground attacker or bomber in order to do this, and since most of what you'll be doing is destroying ground targets, most of the personal points tally that you have at the end of the battle will derive from attacking ground targets. I'm not quite sure how you follow the progress of this during the course of the battle, but basically, if largely what you're doing is destroying ground targets, then most of your personal points will come from destroying ground targets. How long will this take? Well, that looks to me fairly simple. Perhaps I'm missing something. That looks like a single battle, if you're in most cases. So again, the World of Warplanes team seems to be taking pity on people who've just gone through their previous missions, which were rather more difficult. So, mission number 25, another epic achievement, received the Hero of the Sky award. And how do you get that? You need to earn 13 points from doing across all 3 of your class-specific missions, as I call them in my videos, aircraft-specific missions, as the World of Warplanes team calls them. And if you can get enough points from doing those missions, then you receive the Hero of the Sky achievement. And what do I mean by class-specific missions, just in case you're wondering? If we look at this again, and we'll take fighters as an example. Here we are, fighters. The class-specific missions are sector defense, destruction of aerial targets, and air battle for sectors. These missions will change depending on the class of aircraft that you're flying. Familiarize yourself with them. But basically, you need to get one of these complete and the other 2 at least up to level 4. So in the case of aerial targets, say this destroy 13 aerial targets, and air battles for sectors, you need to receive 225 capture points. Provided you've got sector defense done completely, that's 8 aircraft destroyed when defending a sector, then you will get a Hero of the Sky achievement. And as you can see, the missions vary depending on the class of the aircraft. This is actually a good mission as far as I'm concerned, because it teaches you to pay attention to what you ought to be doing in each class of aircraft. How long will it take you? Well, it depends on how good you are. I would say that I would expect to get a Hero of the Sky badge certainly every 5 to 10 battles. If you're a little bit newer to the game, it may take you a bit longer. A quick tip, if you're not sure how to monitor progress towards the Hero of the Sky achievement, during a battle press Tab, bring up the player panel, and at the bottom you will see your class specific missions. The progress is recorded there. Let's have a look at mission number 26. Earn 3,000 cap points for destroying ground targets in any number of battles. Again, your favourite bomber, your favourite ground attacker. I reckon to do about 300 on average when I'm in my ground attackers, which possibly is a bit low because I'm not particularly good at ground attackers and I don't play bombers, of course. So about 10 battles, I'd guess. And on to mission number 27, destroy 75 defence aircraft in any number of battles. Quite a high total. It's a bit of a grind. Your main problem is going to be people who are doing exactly the same as you. Fly your favourite fighter, or in my case, I'd probably fly a heavy fighter because it's easier, a little bit in my opinion, to pick off the air defence heavies at sectors with a heavy because there are fewer competing aircraft trying to shoot down the same planes. I reckon probably I would do on average about 5 a game if I'm trying. So that's going to be, what, 15 games or so. Mission 28, and let's just scroll it up to the top. Not too far, there we go. 600 hit points worth of damage to ground targets in any number of battles. Again, more ground attacking, your favourite ground attacker, your favourite bomber. The higher the tier, the better. You might at high tiers get, say, 50,000 per battle, maybe even more in a good battle, in which case you're going to take about 12 battles. At low tiers, you're going to do considerably less, and that could extend out to, I don't know, 20, 30 battles. It's just a grind. It will take time. You will get through it. Play your favourite ground attacker or your favourite bomber. Mission number 29. This one is the potential to be a bit of a nuisance. Destroy 6 enemy attack aircraft in a single battle. Okay, those are ground attackers. So it's going to take you a while to knock them down, and there's always a chance that as you whittle them down, somebody else will come and finish it off for you. And there's generally only 1 or 2 of them per battle, which means you've got to knock them down 3 times each, or some permutation, which adds up to 6. That's a fairly rare battle, and I don't know how long this one's going to take. Pick an aircraft that's hard-hitting, but relatively mobile, because these things fly low. So again, if you're low tier, maybe something like a BF-109B, and you're really looking for the ground attackers, which are fairly small HP pool comparatively at those tiers, that might be your best way of doing it. I could imagine if you're going to try and do this at high tiers, you're going to want something like possibly a TA-183 or a Focke-Wulf 252. But either way, whichever way you do it, you're going to need quite a bit of luck to do this. This is quite a stiff condition to try and achieve. It's not often I knock down 6 enemy attack aircraft in a battle. To be fair, I don't necessarily go looking for it. This is one of those missions where you're probably going to have to abandon any thought of trying to win the battle and concentrate solely on trying to find those enemy attack aircraft. Your best bet is on maps with mining plants, preferably 2 of them, because it's fairly certain that the enemy attack aircraft are going to fly there. Mission number 30. Receive the epic achievement, the Golubev medal, and straight away I think a lot of people are going to be buying certificates to skip this achievement. The Golubev medal is awarded for destroying at least 3 aerial targets, which means their defence aircraft count, using rockets in a single sortie and winning the battle. Well, clearly if you have any of the aircraft that have got air-to-air rockets, this is easier, and I'd probably estimate it would take me something like 5 to 10 battles to get a Golubev medal if I put my mind to it. Maybe less. It's that type of medal I could get in the first battle with an aircraft equipped with air-to-air rockets. If you don't have any of those, then you're going to need quite a bit of luck, because you're basically going to have to either be really good at aiming with rockets intended for ground attacking at aircraft in flight, or have 3 situations in a single sortie where you can destroy aircraft by planting rockets into the ground just ahead of them and catching them in the blast radius of those rockets. This is going to be tricky. I've no idea how long it will take people with only low to mid-tier aircraft to do this one. I'm just going to wish you luck. Well, mission 31 is at least simple in concept. Destroy 20 enemy bombers in any number of battles. I think flying heavy is going to be your best bet here. probably a low tier heavy, so if you are good in those, you could probably get to the bombers, find them before anybody else on your team does. I'm going to estimate that I would probably do, say, 3 or 4, let's say 4 bombers a battle if I was really looking for them. So we're looking, say, to do that in about 5 battles. However, it depends on the circumstances. Don't be surprised if it takes you 10 or 20 battles to do this one, but it will get done. It's just a grind. Mission 32 is receive the Flying Revenge achievement within a battle. And if we take a look at what that might be, this is going to be either done in attack aircraft or bombers, ground attack aircraft or bombers. And if you can see, it's destruction of infrastructure, and to achieve the Flying Revenge badge, destroy 100 parts of infrastructure. Concentrate on the lightly armoured targets to get this done as quickly as possible before anybody else is doing it. Similar sort of idea with bombers, except that in this case you have to do 150 pieces of infrastructure. And for that, it depends. Obviously, the higher tier, the more damage output you can get, the quicker you can do it. 5 battles, 10 battles, something like that, I would guess. And mission number 33. Oh my goodness, and this is going to be a long grind for most of us. Deal 1 million hit points worth of damage to ground targets in any number of battles. Okay, so it's ground attackers or favourite bombers. The higher the tier, the better, of course. And you're going to see EF-131s flying around like crazy trying to do this. The fact of the matter is, if you manage to do, and it would take a high tier aircraft probably to do it, 50,000 damage to ground targets in a battle, this is going to take you 20 battles. And if you do 25,000 damage to ground targets, it's going to take you 40 battles. And if you're flying really low tier aircraft, 50 battles, 60 battles, 70 battles. This is going to be a long one. It is just a grind, and you're going to be on it a long time. And whilst you're on it, you're going to be seeing a lot of ground attackers and bombers around you trying to steal your targets. Good luck. Mission number 34, and I think we had this back on mission 14, so the same applies. You've got to destroy 9 enemy fighters in a single battle. You're probably going to want to be in a fighter yourself. You're probably going to need a central repair base, and you're probably going to have a team that complies by not shooting down the fighters whilst you are. This one's quite painful. It's a nuisance. It's hard to say how long it will take you. If you get the luck, it could be your very first battle. Don't be surprised if you're still scratching your head trying to do this one after 10 or 20 battles. And finally, mission number 35, and completing the chain of combat missions and awarding you the Antonov M Masha plus a crew member and a decoration set. Receive the Gabreski Medal. The Gabreski Medal is awarded for destroying at least 10 aerial targets, air defence aircraft included, and 7 enemy ground targets in a single sortie and winning the battle. So you need a little bit of luck, as well as the right aircraft, and you need your team to be decent enough to win the battle without winning it too quickly. And to me, this implies good multi-roles with good ordnance, capable of taking out 3 or 4 ground targets a sector, and also good guns, so that they can knock down the enemy or air defence aircraft. And this is a bit of a personal preference. In my case, I've done very few Gabreskis because, as I explained in another video, trying to get a Gabreski medal actually causes you to fly suboptimally, principally because it means you spend longer, arguably, over a sector taking it than you would if, for instance, you concentrated on destroying the special object in that sector, but only destroying 1 ground target. Leaving that to one side, I've done this in an RB-17. I've done this in a LAG 3-4 tier 4 multi-role, and I've done this in a Blenheim. At higher tiers, you could consider something like the F7U with 4 good bombs. There are people who can do this in J7W2s with frequency. The point I'm trying to make is pick something with good ordnance and good guns, and you'll have the best chance of doing this. I predict this is one that, again, a number of people are going to purchase certificates to skip. So what we're going to do now Having done that, maybe you want to go and make yourself a cup of tea, because that's been quite a long section. I'm going to look at what's on offer in the shop with respect to certificates. So I mentioned here that you can purchase certificates to skip legs of the chain of combat missions. And I can tell you that if you wanted to skip the entirety of the chain, it will take you 460 certificates. And hey, there's a bundle for 460 certificates. And you can see that there's a bundle for 350 and 250 certificates alongside it. Then you can buy plain certificates, 120 at a time, 50 at a time, or 20 at a time. So if we take a look at the 460, and unfortunately Wargaming have done what I hoped that they wouldn't, they bundled it with extra content. So you've got the 460 certificates that you would need to skip the entire chain of missions, 30 days of premium, 10,000 gold, and 5 steel supply crates. Well, maybe if you want to buy this bundle, those things are attractive to you. Personally, I would have really just liked plain certificates. And you may be thinking, well, okay, that's fine. Let's just go and buy 3 of these and then 2 of these, and that will give you your 460 certificates, and that will come to £83.39. Exactly the same, save for a few pennies, as the bundled certificates. So Wargaming wins. If you're going to buy certificates, then probably if you just want to skip the odd leg or two, your best bet are these unbundled ones. If you want to skip lots of legs, I'm afraid Wargaming is going to insist that you accept their extra content. That's a shame. I wish they hadn't done it, but it is what it is, as they say nowadays. So the next thing to do is drop into the hangar and actually look at the chain of combat missions there, and I'll explain to you how these certificates work in skipping legs of missions. So here we are in the hangar, and most of you will have already come here to specials and missions and press the view list button. But if you haven't, this is where you access the mission that you're about to embark upon. You just close that up, and as you can see at the top, the personal missions, you may have 2 others here for the Vampire and the Ascender. You can't do the missions concurrently, you can only do 1 at a time, which means that if you pick the Antonov M Masha mission, and remember you've only got a month to do it, then you have to actively say activate this mission here. I've already done that. When you do that, you will stop making progress on the Ascender or Vampire missions if that's what you've been doing so far. So if we look at stage 1 Fuselage, and we'll just close it back up again, and stage 2 Cockpit, you can see that there are 7 stages and they're all named after parts of the aircraft. That in itself is not significant, but they all follow the same board design. They start off with an easy grindy type mission and they work up to something more difficult by the end. And as you go through the mission stages, I'll call them, they get harder and harder and harder. So let's take a look at the Fuselage stage. And the first one is fairly simple: earn 2,000 capital points in any number of battles. I've already earned 1,525 points. This is where you can monitor your progress. And then the stage ends with the Akamatsu medal achievement, the most difficult achievement in this particular section. These numbers in red indicate to you how many certificates you will need to skip this particular leg. And for this easy mission, it's just 2 certificates. But for the hard one, it's gone up to 18 certificates. And as you can see, the number of certificates goes up for each leg in the stage. And then the requirements for certificates go up for each subsequent stage. So as you can see here, the easy one in the Cockpit stage is 3 certificates, and the final one is 20 certificates for the Maguire medal. So you won't be surprised to learn that the last stage requires the most certificates of all. The easy part, the first part, will take you 10 certificates, working through 14, 18, 25, up to, for skipping the Gabreski medal, 32 certificates. So if you want to skip any particular legs, say the Golubev medal, which is the end of this armament section, or perhaps the Gabreski, or perhaps destroy 9 fighters in a single battle, you need to calculate how many certificates you're going to need using these numbers, and then go and buy the appropriate number of certificates. bearing in mind that you can only buy those in units of 120 and 50 and 20 if you don't want to buy any of the big bundles. And of course, it has been arranged, it hasn't escaped my notice, that for instance, if you want to skip the Golubev, which is 30 certificates here, and then skip the Gabreski, which is, I suppose, quite likely for many people, that's 32 certificates, that's 62. Well, that's above 50 and less than 120, and the only way you can buy, the smallest number you can buy above that 62 is, of course, by adding 50 and 20 together and getting 70, leaving you 8 certificates to do something else with. Bear that in mind, plan ahead. Well, if you do end up with extra certificates, you won't be compensated in gold on this occasion, as has happened in the past. The World of Warplanes team has said that you will be able to use them on future marathons, future chains of combat missions. Well, there may be one at Christmas, for instance, but we don't know. Well, that's an awful lot about the missions, but I hope that you've found what I've said informative and that it will prove useful to you. Let me just wish you all who are working through this chain of missions the very best of luck. I hope you get them done in the shortest space of time possible and that you get the Antonov M Masha in your hangar and enjoy this aircraft. That's it for this video. Until the next one, this is the Noble Q signing out.